Okay, are we live? Lets me know. Operating system changed. Welcome everyone to So Get This, and tonight I have a very special guest, Mr. Mitch Kosterman. Okay. Now I have to mute myself because it doesn't let me do it. Lets me know. Operating system changed. Welcome everyone to So Get This, and tonight I have a very special guest, Mr. Mitch. Okay, now we're done.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the insanity I have to put up with. It's done. Okay. The floor is yours, Mitch. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jodi?
I'm good, thank you. We have a lot of very excited people here to see you.
Oh, that's good. Am I going to see you in Jacksonville? Are you going to be there?
I am. So I heard you're going to be there too.
I will.
What you going to be working on?
Well, we got a little bit of shooting to do, and we're going to premiere episode 6 of this series. But I'm going to interview Gil McKinney, and I'm going to shoot part of a bonus episode that we're shooting for the DVD. Anybody who bought the DVD is going. I've always promised that they're going to get some value-added content. Well, we've got 2 bonus episodes that we'll be adding to the DVD. That won't air with the series. They'll be available on the DVD.
Oh, that is excellent. Now, are you still able to purchase the DVD, or is it just through online now?
Oh, you'll be able to purchase it forever. You'll be able to buy the DVD as soon as we get all of the merchandise front end set up. We've got a couple of things on there. Betty Black is working on that for us on our website, www.spmfanmovie.com. And you'll see when you click on the merchandise tab, there's some stuff there, but we'll be adding some other things. We'll add the DVD. We only just this week got approval for our new logo and started making the shirts and sweatshirts and mugs and stickers and stuff. So that stuff should be available in the next week or so.
Whoops, there we go. Oh, and we'll be able to buy those also through the website?
Yes, that's all going to be available at the website. Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Wow, you should get a merch table at the conventions. How could we do that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, I'll push that stuff aside.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
That's right.
So tell us about how the SPM fan movie came to be. How did that happen?
Well, as you know, my brother Cliff works for Jared and Jensen. He's been their bodyguard now for 9 years. And this is the 10th year, I guess. Anyway, he's traveled all over the world with them, going to conventions, primarily in the United States for creation conventions. And he has always said to me that there's something interesting about fandom. I'd never even heard the word before. And he said that I should come and interview some of these fans. And I was busy doing other stuff, so I couldn't do it right away. And he tried to do it himself, and it wasn't working out. And finally, things worked out where I was available, and I went to shoot some of this stuff and interviewed the fans. And I found out that, yes, he was very right. There is something very special about this group of people. And then I felt like I had a compelling story to tell. So I spent the next little over 2 years, almost 2.5 years now, shooting it. I'm still shooting it. Keep coming up with more stuff to shoot. And kind of broke it down into 10 themes. And then Jason Fisher came on board, and he said, you don't have to make just a little movie. Why don't we make a series? And that way, you can take all of those themes and you can show all the good footage. You don't have to cram it all down into one 90-minute movie. You can make it into a series, and you can have 220 minutes. So that's what we did. Awesome. Now I can't hear you.
There we go. Okay. I remember vaguely. I just learned how to use this mute button last week. I am a tech moron with a live stream show. It's amazing. I remember watching your panel at the last convention that you attended, and you had said that you had collected, I think, in total more than 22 hours worth of footage that you.
When we were in Pasadena? No, the number.
Yeah.
The number was 55 hours.
Oh, I was off by a hair,
By a bit. It's a massive amount of stuff. Now, the actual interview part is probably 2/3 of that, and then 1/3 is probably what we call B-roll, like shots of the crowd, the hallway, people on stage, stuff like that. But I have probably in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 hours of interviews. I have,
wow.
in fact, I have 56 minutes of Jared Padalecki.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, there's a movie right there. Yeah, just put the two of them on one movie.
You mentioned that, you have another project on board that you're going to be starting in Jacksonville. Is it going to be in the same direction as the SPN fan movie? Is this going to be an extension of, or?
Well, it's going to be, we put on Vimeo, which is available to everyone now, episodes 1 through 5. In Jacksonville, we're going to premiere episode 6. And then 1 week later, episode 7, a week later, episode 8, a week later, episode 9, a week later, episode 10. So essentially the idea was 5 before Christmas, 5 after Christmas. So the 10th episode is going to premiere in Houston at the Houston Convention on Valentine's Day. And then I have 2 simultaneous post-production teams working right now, 2 completely different editors. One is working on the series, and one is working on the feature film. And the series is aimed toward the. That's my son being loud during my live broadcast here. So.
Children are meant to video bomb.
Thanks.
Oh, are we frozen? I think we've frozen.
Thanks.
Yep, there he goes. We're still frozen. I don't know if you can hear me, Mitch. You're frozen visually and audio as well.
Mike. Wait.
All right, I'm just going to jump to the chat window while we're waiting for this to unfreeze. I see, Kat, you have a question. And as soon as we get Mitch unfrozen, I'll ask said question. Can you hear me? Oh, no. I see another Mitch. There you are. Okay.
We're coming back.
Coming back. Okay, because now there's 2 windows. There's a frozen you, and then there's a non-frozen you.
Awesome.
Awesome. You can't have too many Mitches. So.
Okay. Not working. Is my microphone working?
It is, but it's a little choppy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is not a great connection.
Where's your sound guy?
Need Robbie.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you were talking about how you're going to be releasing a new episode every week up through Houston.
Yes, and we have 2 simultaneous post-production tracks. One is making a feature film, and one is making a series. And the series will be premiered in Las Vegas on March the 13th. And the feature film will premiere in Las Vegas March the 13th. The feature film is aimed toward a broader audience. It's toward people who don't know much about fandom, whereas the series is made for the fans. It's specifically for the fans, and we want to have a lot of fan interviews and fan stuff in it. You know, things that we know the fans are going to like. The feature film we're going to try and market worldwide, and it's going to say, "Hey, people who don't know anything about fandom, this is what it is." That's the goal of that. So, two completely different editing teams, two completely different focuses.
That's really good. And you actually answered Kat Loveland's question. Her question was, what will the difference be between the movie and the episodes? And that's, you read her mind. See that, Kat? In your head. And that's not creepy at all.
Oh, man.
No, it's not creepy at all. What is your particular favorite part of doing conventions? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah, I have. Obviously, well, doing conventions, the most interesting part of a convention to me are the photo ops. Just the way that they're set up was really interesting to me. The way that Chris has managed, in creation photo ops anyway, Chris has managed to create this an event for each person. First of all, the lineup goes into the room where the photo ops are taking place. So you actually spend a few minutes in this short part of the lineup where you watch the other people doing their photo ops. Now that's interesting. It's an interesting experience. I've seen people break down in that lineup and they can't get back up. That's interesting too, to all the other people there. But then you watch the people, how they set up their photo ops, and they're very creative in these photo ops, and the actors are really into it. It's not, as is explained in episode 3 of our series. It isn't just a question of you walk up and you get your shot with the actors. There's all sorts of cool, crazy stuff going on. You know, people plan things. They bring chunks of costume. It's really cool, and I love that. And when the people come back out, they are often very emotional, having had physical contact with the actor, like Peter describes. Pretty interesting.
Wait, I'm sorry, the very last thing that you said got cut off.
Oh, I said when they come out, they're very emotional, like Cedar described in episode 3 there. She described her own experience. And it's interesting because she was working for me, and I said, "Do you want to get a picture?" And she said, "Oh, okay." You know, she was really casual about it. And she came out, and she was standing there, and I said, "So how was it?" She goes, "Oh, it's fine." So she described that. She had no idea that it was going to happen, that she was going to get all emotional about it. But it happens, you know. So sometimes.
It doesn't get old either, because the one thing I treat myself to at every convention is I do the photo ops. I just need to. So every time I get my photo op, I walk away with like my knees feeling like they're jelly, and you know, like I've done this 5,000 times. This isn't supposed to feel like this anymore. But yeah, I mean, they do a very good job between Chris, like you said, between Chris and Jensen and Jared and Misha and everybody else that does the photo ops. They do a very good job of making you feel like you're the only person in the room at that moment, and they will do everything they can to make.
Yeah. Even me, I did a photo op in there with. I think Jared was trying to choke me out or something. But all right. Oh, you muted. I cannot hear you.
There we go. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, you were frozen for a second.
Do that from time to time. I'm sorry.
I'm just taking a look at the chat window really fast. Where did that go? Okay, Sue Ladigo. She says that she wants a photo op with you.
Susan Ladigo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Truck driver. She's a truck driver. Yeah. She could have had a photo op with me a number of times. I've met her. So I met her in Pasadena. She could have got pictures with me anytime. Anybody who walks up to me, it's no problem. I'll take a selfie with you. You can get someone else to hold the phone and take a picture. I'm fine with that. Anytime.
Okay, so we've got video evidence of that, Sue. So there we go. You're good. Gotcha. And Shezray Khan, forgive me if I've mispronounced your name. You have a question, and you wanted to know if there will ever be conventions coming to Asia. Is that what you're asking? Or if the film movie filming would happen in Asia? I'm not clear. I'd have to scroll back up. Let me see if that's what you're. I think I don't think they do any conventions in Asia at this point, do they?
No. The thing that a lot of people don't understand, and I was talking to some young ladies from can't remember where today, Argentina or something, online, and it's more than you can explain in the limited amount of characters you can type in a message. The thing that people have to understand about conventions is they're a business, and someone with a lot of money and a lot of resources and someone who knows how to arrange an event has to arrange a convention. Then they invite the actors to come, and they pay them to do so. It's not a situation where the actors say, "Hey, I'd like to go to that country," and they get on a plane and go there. It's not like that. The host, whatever the country is, has got to have someone hosting an event, and they have to pay to make it happen, and it's expensive. I'll bet you, I don't know how much money Creation spends to put those events on, but you start thinking about all the things you add up, and you get to $1 million pretty darn quick, in my mind, anyway. When I just started looking around at what they have to pay for. And I've arranged a few events myself, and it's tens of thousands of dollars. So a couple of young ladies, 17 years old in Argentina, no, I'm sorry. As much as you want to make this event happen, I really don't think that your parents are going to give you the money to create this event. It's a big business. It's as much a theater event as anything. It's like a trade show, really. Anyway, I hope that doesn't disappoint you.
So you've interviewed not only the fans about the fandom, but also the actors about the fandom. So you've got a very unique perspective. How has that helped shape your view of the fandom? How, between how the actors feel about it and the fans and.
Well, first, let me say that when you originally asked me the question, what was the most interesting part of shooting this? By far, the most interesting thing to shoot were the actors. I was surprised by a lot of things about fandom. It was not at all what I thought it was going to be. So I made all those realizations, and Cliff was right, and we started recording those and created those themes. But after we got a couple of interviews with Richard and Rob and Mark Shepard and Misha, I showed 4 minutes to Warner Brothers and to Jared and Jensen, and Warner Brothers licensed part of the stuff we shot, and Jared and Jensen said, "Holy cow, we want to be involved in that." And then once Jared and Jensen had given us their interviews, every cast member wanted to be in the movie. So that was a change. You see, I was making a movie about the fans and about the conventions, and then now all of a sudden it was the actors wanted to be in the movie. So I said, okay, first one, I'll go to Hollywood and I'll rent a hotel room, and I spent quite a bit of money. And I said, any actor that wants to come and be interviewed, I'll be there. And I sent out 14 invitations, and all 14 of the actors showed up. Kim Rhodes, Jeffrey D. Morgan, Jim Beaver, Osric Chow, Matt Cohen. They all showed up, and they hung around, and they talked to each other. And that was an epiphany for me. I've been working in the film business for 30 years, and I have never seen such a nice group of people working on one show. Jared and Jensen I've known for a long time, and they're great guys, and maybe they're part of the reason why they end up with a great group of people. But to see all of those people have the same, and they describe this many times in their interviews, which is what you will see, in particular in episodes 9 and 10, they describe their loving relationship with the fans, and it is unique. Maybe now there are more situations like that with some of the newer TV shows. Maybe TV evolved in that way. I don't know. But it's certainly not something I had ever seen before in my 3 decades of working in film and television. I've worked on about 110, 120 different projects. I've never seen anything like it before, ever.
A lot of the general consensus here in the chat room is the same thing. Everybody's talking about how the cast is amazing and that they're just everybody's so struck by the love that the actors show each other. You know, when they're on stage karaoke, doing the concerts, just, you know, panels together, they crash each other's panels, and they just make everybody, it's infectious. The air just becomes this amazing blanket of positive energy whenever, you know, you watch these people interact. It's really amazing. What I wanted to ask you is, in general, people, the impression is that a lot of the conventions are female centric, that they're mostly attended by women, which is my observation as well. However, you know, I'm sure you've interviewed some male attendees, and it would be interesting to hear what their experiences were like.
Well, what's really interesting to me is that they're no different from the women in that they really like the show, and they like the show for exactly the same reasons. The struggles through the trials and tribulations that the guys go through, and how they deal with it, with you know, with this incredible family bond and support for two brothers the way brothers should be. And you know, they talk about stuff like that, and they love the humor and the, you know, the nods to classic rock and roll and the car and the fact that they tour around the United States. They love all the same things that the women like. And although I think that there is definitely a component among the females where they have an amorous feeling toward the two guys that most of the male attendees don't have. Maybe some of them do, but most of them don't, the ones I've talked to. I don't think that is the big reason that people come to these conventions, and I don't think it's the big reason that people like the show. I myself and my two boys, watched this show, and you know, we really enjoyed it. I think the thing that I would love to investigate, because I cannot quite understand it, is why the conventions are so female-centric, because I know that the demographic for watching the show is not. It's very wide demographic, so I don't quite understand that. Maybe the men have something else that draws them to spend their money first, you know, or maybe I'd love to find out. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Maybe it's for whatever reason it's viewed as a female kind of a thing to do. You know, I don't understand that, because Star Trek and Star Wars get equal numbers of male and female, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery, and because I know that all the guys who go have a fantastic time, especially the single guys.
Well, I was just gonna say, I remember reading somewhere, Misha, I think at one of the conventions, said, man, you know, single guys are really stupid. They should be spending their money on a general admission pass, just hanging out with all.
If I were like a 25 or 30-year-old guy, you know, and I was looking for a girlfriend, that'd be a great place to go. You know, you got a common interest. You know, they're typically going to be nice, caring, decent people, because that's what I've encountered. So, I mean, forget Plenty of Fish or whatever else you're going to do. eHarmony, go to a convention, guys.
Screw eHarmony, Creation Entertainment Conventions is where it's at.
That's right.
Lasting connections made.
We'll tell you about some of the marriages that have happened out of conventions, proposals that have happened in the photo op room that not sometimes they both weren't in on it. You know, like it was a real proposal. You know, guy down on his knee with the ring out in his hand right there for the photo op, and Jared and Jensen involved in the proposal. But we'll tell you, those they happen. Yeah.
Well, in Denver, the past Denver con, someone actually commissioned me to make an engagement ring on the fly like that, and he proposed on stage during Tomo's panel to his fiance. Thankfully, she said yes. But yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, it's good, because I mean, you know, like I said, you're going to find a lot of commonality, a lot of common ground between people who go to conventions. I believe that. An interesting group, but it has some very generalized characteristics, and they're all good ones, really. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You have a really vast experience of being in TV and film in front of the camera. So what made you jump behind it?
I'm old. That's what you're trying to say, right? Yeah.
No, that's
Old guys, experience. Yeah.
oh no.
I quit in 2006 because I'm going to make a statement here that some people are going to disagree with, but that's something that I'm utterly convinced of. It is almost impossible to be a good father and be an actor. Uh, it's a lifestyle that takes you away from your family, and I was being a very lousy father. So in 2006, I stopped being an actor, and I found a way to make a living, and I came home to my family. And then when Cliff started pushing me back into this, it wasn't so much that I decided to be on the other side of the camera. It was just that I now had the time, and he proposed the idea, and so I headed in that direction. Between you and me and everyone else who's listening to this, I never wanted to go back to being an actor again because the auditioning circuit is it's a difficult and often degrading process, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So it's tough, when you're trying to sell a product. You sell a product. You're a lady, I know. You put your heart and soul into your jewelry. Now, if someone comes up and they look at that piece of jewelry and they go, "That looks like shit," how do you feel? Okay.
I fall under my table and die.
Imagine yourself as an actor or a singer or a musician, particularly an actor, because it is often about how you look. You know, you're standing there and they'll be saying you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too old, you're too ugly, you're too whatever, or you sound
So they
stupid.
talk about you like you're not in the room, basically.
The mean ones will, but the point is that you're being judged on some very personal stuff. You know,
Yeah.
and it can get really hard, and you can develop a kind of a strange personality, I think, which is another thing that kind of underlines the whole phenomenon of supernatural and those actors that are in that show. They don't demonstrate what I've typically come to see as the insecure behavior of someone who is constantly being criticized about how they look and how they talk. These are, I don't know, somehow they manage to stay very grounded. And once again, it's something that I can't explain. I can observe it and describe it to you, but I cannot explain how it evolved. So, why?
Yeah, that's a word that I hear very often when describing Jensen and Jared. Grounded,
Yeah.
down to earth, real, human.
Yes. I mean, Jetson came, first time I met him, he was at Cliff's for Thanksgiving. And, we had turkey, and he just sat there with the rest of the family. He was single at the time. And we watched off of Cliff's porch at the back as all of Cliff's dogs jumped in the pool. And it was very funny. I remember Jared. Jared would often come out and play poker with my mom and dad, my cousins and sister and stuff. It just was not at all like the actors that I had come to know. And what's interesting, and I hope everybody watches it, episode 10 is going to try to describe the various elements that make the show unique from that perspective. Somebody asked me the other day, can't remember who I was talking to. I think actually it might have been Kim Rhodes, but I don't know. Somebody was asking me about it. And we both drew the same conclusion. That is that it's impossible to describe what is unique. If you could accurately describe it and say what elements are required to make this phenomenon happen, then you could become a very wealthy executive in Hollywood right now, because many people would love to find a way to duplicate this, and many people are trying right at this very moment to try and duplicate this show's magic. They can't.
Muted again. I was muted again. Yeah, I was going to agree with you that you really can't. And it's just something that's too organic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that's formulaic or anything. You just can't recreate it. You're right.
No, but you can say it starts with certain people, and who make associations and bring in those people. Eric Kripke, obviously, Bob Singer, and those two boys. I call them boys. It's ridiculous, really. But Jared and Jensen. and you'll hear many people mention this, the attitude and character of the top actors on a show, uh, to a large degree, what it's going to be like working on that show every single day. They set the tone. They do.
They set a very high bar too.
Oh yeah, yeah, you better behave because they'll just give you the boot. You listen to Jeffrey Dean Morgan talk about that. If you don't, if you're not a good person and you don't, uh, you don't show some solid character, then you just won't be back on the show. Bye bye.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, we have a question in the chat room from Shezray Khan, and she's asking what your favorite J2 moment is.
I'll tell you that, but first I'll tell you that Shezray is one of the people I was talking about who wanted the convention. So I hope I answered her question. I tried earlier in messaging to explain why we can't initiate a convention, and now I've gone and forgotten the question. What was my favorite J2 moment? Was that the question? Um, uh, my favorite J2 moment is I did describe this in one interview before. I used to coach wheelchair basketball, and there was a fella in town, a young man. He had just injured himself in a motorcycle accident, and he was staying at home smoking pot, and his dad was concerned about him. I felt that playing basketball would be a good thing for him to do. So I said to him, he said he wasn't interested in coming out. And I thought if we could get him out on the floor, we'd get him interested. And I said to him, if I can get you to meet the actors on Supernatural, will you come and play basketball for me? And he said yes. So his dad, we worked it out. And one night, Jared and Jensen were shooting in my little town here, Fort Langley, and it was raining. It was raining so hard that there was no one on the street. The water was pouring off the roof. And it was a kind of an old Western kind of a building down there by the pub. And they were shooting in there. And Cliff called me and said, okay, come down and I'll have a parking spot for you and just hang out here. And then when Jared and Jensen get a break, they'll come out. So I went down to the boy's house and his dad, and they got, the wheelchair ramp. We loaded him in the van and took him down to outside this place and loaded him off onto the boardwalk. And he sat there and the rain was pouring down. And we stood there and he sat there for quite some time.
Mitch, I think we froze.
Oh, did we freeze? I'm sorry. Did we lose all the good story? Blah, blah.
We missed the last 30 seconds of what you were saying.
I got the boy and his dad.
Because you froze.
And they came down and they got we unloaded them onto this boardwalk on the porch of this place. And the crew were all inside the building. It was raining like that. Nobody was outside except the Teamster. And then we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And then boom, the door opened. There comes Jared and Jensen. They come up to this guy. They spent like 10 minutes with him. And I was just standing off, just a little down the road watching. It was something. It was really something to see.
Oh, wow.
Really
okay. Next question is, do you have any future plans for Two Sharks Media that you can share with us?
Yeah, we've got a few things. We've got some people talking to us about doing other shows. And that's something that we're very interested in. Jason Fisher, when we first met him, that was his first question. He said, would you be interested in replicating this for other shows? So we're going to probably head down that path. But we also, as I think my brother Cliff is going to produce my brother Mike's song, which some people have heard. We'll see where that goes. I myself have already written an outline and done a fair amount of work on Cliff's written biography. Did I lose you? I just have a picture of you now. I don't know if you can hear me. Jodi. Technology is crazy.
Oops. Are you still there, Mitch?
I'm still here. Yep.
Okay, because my connect. Okay,
There we go.
you completely vanished on, and then the connection went. Okay, so let's put you back up there where you belong. Okay, there you go. Okay,
What were we talking about?
thank you, and I am very sorry about that.
What were we talking about?
I
Oh,
you just finished explaining some different things that Two Sharks Media was going to be involved in.
right. I'm writing Cliff's biography. He has worked for about 3 dozen high-profile celebrities: Sharon Stone, Kurt Russell, Selena Gomez, Pamela Anderson, Morgan Freeman, Al Pacino, and every one of those has at least a couple of interesting anecdotes that will make a very interesting book. He has a number of photos as well. So that's one of the things I definitely want to do in the next year or so. Writing's different. You got to find a quiet space. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, there's a lot of excitement going on in the chat room about that. Cliff's bio, cool. So Kat, thank you. Yeah, Kat saying we need to get salt and exorcism pre-shows for the connections here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, Shezray Khan, I'm sorry that the technology issues are annoying you. We're doing the best we can. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I wanted to ask you too is that you have been a very huge supporter of the Always Keep Fighting campaign, and you know, you and I have had some really good discussions about it too. And I wanted to know if you wanted to share anything about your perspective on the campaign and what it means to you.
Well, Jared was suffering from depression about the time that my son, my youngest son, had a breakdown. And he suffers from OCD and generalized anxiety disorder. And without going into detail, that can throw your life into some turmoil. He was an overachiever. He was a national team athlete, and he just crashed one day and has not recovered. And about the same time, Jared started having his problems, and then there were other family problems in my family and in Jared's family, and it just kind of paralleled. They just kind of paralleled each other. So, it's definitely something that is very important. And you and I talked about this before. Up here in Canada, we have a thing called End the Stigma. And, Howie Mandel's one of the spokespeople for that. And we have some national athletes who are involved in it. And it's sponsored by Bell Media Canada. And it's about ending the stigma of mental health and treating it like a health issue. And, trying to get people to stop saying some of the stupid things like give your head a shake or man up or, I have a hard time. I don't get angry much anymore, but I have a hard time when people say things like, just stop being a pussy, stuff like that. Just totally useless things to say that exacerbate the problem rather than solve it in any way. So the thing about always keep fighting and to wear love on her arms, which is the whole thing that started it for Jared, it creates a rhetoric that is more positive and will have a positive effect. None of the other stuff is ever going to have any positive effect. Somebody telling a depressed person to just shake it off is never going to have a positive effect. It's a completely wasted and counterproductive phrase. So, always keep fighting, on the other hand, is a really important phrase. So if we can build on that and have other positive phrases like that, we can do two things. One is we can help the people who sometimes all they need is to hear something like that. And we can also convince the powers who have, people who have the ability to affect the changes in the mental health system. We want them to hear that, because since my son got involved in this, I have realized how woefully inadequate we are. We tell people that there is help out there. Well, I can tell you that there's more help from Jared Padalecki and Always Keep Fighting and To Right Love in Your Arms and Attitudes in Reverse than we have found in most places with professional counselors. they simply do not have the resources, the training, the experience, and I don't think we quite understand this illness well enough. A whole lot more research has to be done. It's interesting because it affects so darn many people, and yet we, like Howie Mandel says too, we love to keep it in the closet. You know, no one wants to talk about it. It's similar to alcoholism and drug abuse. You know, those kind of things. You know. Anyway.
You know, to your point, in the chat room, Alfanique has a question, and she's asking if you ever imagined that the campaign would have the impact that it has, because she lives in Mexico City, and she said that there are people there that identify with the campaign and have actually incorporated that campaign into their lives.
Well, I think that two things have happened that are really important. First of all, it's a very it's a famous show, and Jared Padalecki has become a famous person. The second thing is that he's completely unabashed about his problem. He's not talking about someone else's problem or trying to help other people. He's saying, it's you and me. It's you and me in this problem. I think that's a really significant difference. I think that's what makes it ring true for people. He sounds like them, so he can reach them. I think. Not that I'm.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. And Shazri is saying it's a real problem, exactly like alcoholism or anything else. You know, I agree. Okay, so now, I'm sorry. Alphanique's also saying that she thinks people don't recognize depression as an actual illness. It's all in your head. Just try to get better. Exactly, because it's not something that exhibits itself physically, so people, you know, brush it off. Okay, so now we get to the goof. So the first goofball question is, what are the top 5 songs on your favorite playlist?
I wrote them down. Is that okay?
Did you? Okay. Mitch is prepared.
I looked at what's most played on my thing here. So, Hosier's "Take Me to Church." You know that song?
I know of it. I've heard it before. It's not.
You have to listen to it. There are 3 really good videos of it too. Obviously, Loud and Swain is "Cool If I Come Over." I love that whole Skylive album. I love Loud and Swain. As you know, Rob Benedict gave me his music to put in this movie, which was incredibly generous, just so appropriate. I love that song. I love the album. And I also I like a song called Je t'aime, French song, and a lot of different people have sung it in the past, but right now there's a version by Lara Fabian. You can look that up. It's really good. And I'm a Leonard Cohen fan. My favorite Leonard Cohen song is "A Thousand Kisses Deep." I absolutely love that song. And then I also love rock and roll, and I have always loved Led Zeppelin, and my favorite Led Zeppelin is Kashmir.
Ah.
There you go. That's my 5.
Okay. That's very diverse. I love it.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so now the next one. Actually, before I get to the next question, I'm going to throw my trivia question out there. So, for those of you who are watching, if you have not won anything from me in the past 8 weeks, you're allowed to play. The prize is my very supernatural Christmas limited edition piece. I'm just gonna make this big for 1 second. There you go, so you can see the piece. Very Supernatural Christmas will be the prize for the first person who could type into the chat window correctly, no typos or anything. In episode 1 of the Supernatural fan movie, The Convergent, Cedar is wearing a necklace, and she explains what necklace she's wearing and what it's called. What necklace of mine? Yes, it's my necklace. What necklace is Cedar wearing? What is it called? And the first person to put it in the chat window will get this necklace. Okay, so now my next question for you, Mr. Kosterman, is, so you're stranded on an island. And I know you think about this stuff a lot, and you can only have one supernatural character with you to keep you company.
Mm-hmm.
Who would it be and why?
Well, I think the island is going to be in the Pacific because that's where I like to be. So I think that the person would be Chuck so that he can part the ocean. So if I need to get back to LA, I can do that.
That's a great one. No one's ever said Chuck before.
All worked out. Because he's got a car that's driving you around, but
Awesome. Okay, let me look through the chat window here for a second. Okay, now you guys aren't getting the answer here. What?
I know it.
Now I can't. Yeah, I know you know it. I can't imagine how you know it. I don't know. Do you think Cliff? What? I didn't say. Oh, because I'm reading a question with Cliff in it here. Does Mitch have an edge on the trivia question?
Yeah, might. I might. Yeah. They should just go episode 1. Cedar tells you what it is. You don't have to look at it and guess. Cedar tells you what it is. So.
Exactly. Oh, Shezre's asking me to repeat the question. The question is, in episode 1 of the Supernatural fan movie, Cedar is wearing one of my necklaces, and she explains what the necklace is. The first person necklace is that Cedar's wearing wins, and Brita.
Brita Wait?
It is Kim's necklace.
Brita Wait?
Absolutely.
Is it Brita Wait?
So, for me, I don't think. Or have you? I don't know. I'll find out. Just email me, eldwayne@yahoo.com, and in the subject line, write Mitch Kosterman contest winner, and we'll take it from there. Alrighty. Congratulations to Brita. So now I want to ask you this. Finish this sentence. Okay. All you need is
love, baby.
Okay. Eagles fan?
That's it. Yep. All you need is love.
The most interesting answer to that question, I think, was Samantha Smith.
Yeah.
She said cheese.
Oh. Guy Fieri was pork fat, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
Awesome.
Oh, Rogue, my buddy here, Rogue, she's asking if William Shatner is going to be God on Supernatural. Do you think he's allowed to tell you if he knows that?
I can't even tell you who's working because you guys would figure stuff out. I can't even tell you who's working in town. We're not allowed to talk about who's here because y'all figure it out.
Exactly.
You say some person and they'll say to me, "Oh, that person's still alive." Oh, sorry.
Well, it's like, when do you watch The Walking Dead at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you current with this season?
No, I'm not. No, I haven't.
Okay, then I'm not going to go there because I was just going to blow your entire enjoyment of that series out the window. Glad I asked. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, it's like a secret society. People are, when they're trying to hide storylines, people aren't even allowed out of their apartments. I heard, and they get like everything delivered. Toiletries are delivered to their apartments. Yeah, Kat saying, yes, we're too clever of a fandom. That's true. That's very, very true. And there's speculation that William Shatner is going to be Crowley's father. I wonder how Ruth feels about that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So
I'd like Gilbert Godfrey to be his father. I think that would be better.
Could you
I would love something like that. I think it would be so funny. Yeah.
That's a dream. That needs to happen.
I think Jared and Jensen would just react naturally, like, "Is this guy for real?" Great.
I totally off topic, but you brought up Gilbert Gottfried. Did you ever see his? If you look on YouTube, Gilbert Gottfried reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I cried. I was. Oh boy. Okay, so now Gilbert Gottfried. That's never gonna leave my head. That's gotta happen.
Yeah.
So what other gems can you bestow upon us? So who else would be your dream cast for Supernatural? Who else would you want on there?
Oh, I don't know. I think they could, they can invite pretty much anybody. And the most interesting thing for me, they don't do this enough in television, is when people come and they play against their public persona. You have, someone plays a television character and they kind of get identified with that character. I think it's interesting when they come and play something completely different. You kind of see it, in shows like Saturday Night Live and stuff. They play crazy stuff, really crazy stuff. I mean, one of my favorite things I ever saw was Justin Timberlake dressed as the beer bottle or whatever it was in front of that place on Saturday Night Live. I don't know. I'm going.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think is fun, but I'm not so sure that the fans want to see that. I'm not sure, because I think they like to see, the two guys struggle with something and then demonstrate solid family bond, somehow vanquish some horrible person. So I guess we should bring Booger back and they should beat him to death with some meat tenderizing mallets or something. I don't know. Yeah.
There you go.
He's described to me himself how how conflicted people are when they meet him, because they like him from other stuff and they appreciate him as an actor. They absolutely hate him for his character in Supernatural. So he says they're always a little kind of cautious when they come up and meet him.
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, that just means he does a very good job.
Exactly. That's right.
He does really well. Okay, I'm sorry. Shezray, I just got to know about the reaction video thing yesterday, and today's the last day. So, Shezray, I can't ask Mitch that. No. As Kat is saying, tweet him directly, and he can answer that for you. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions going on in here. Guys, we just have a couple minutes left, so this is your time to ask your questions. Natalie is watching us from the Netherlands, by the way, where it's like 14 o'clock in the morning there or something,
Great.
So she writes, if God and Amara are brother and sister, then Shatner would be one of their parents. So Shatner is God's father, is what you're saying.
Godfather, but God's father. Oh man. Okay.
Just what he needed for, like he doesn't have enough of an ego.
Yeah. Bigger than God.
Right?
That sounds like him. Yeah. He's a funny guy though.
Oh God. I wish I had the pleasure of meeting him. He's on my bucket list.
He's a very funny.
What's your favorite Shatner moment?
Yeah. I actually met him when I was a little boy, because he was doing commercials in a store where my dad was working. Grocery store.
Oh.
He's Canadian. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's from here. So he was just doing commercials.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I was 9, 8.
That must have been such a rock star moment for you, though.
It's because we saw him on TV. Star Trek was, a show that we watched every day. Every day it was on.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Oh, Brita has a question for you, and she's asking, how will the screenings in BC and LA be different from the premiere in Vegas?
They're going to be a big party. Um, and we actually have two levels of that. One is the cocktail party, which is going to go on for a long time too. But we also have a VIP option, and really, it's probably better to talk to Taylor Hayden about it. Taylor Dryden, sorry, because she's setting it up, and Jason Fisher was behind it all. But the VIP thing is going to involve a dinner and traveling in a limousine bus and doing a bunch of other things. We got a lot of things planned, and we've also got some guests from the cast and crew that are going to come and join us at the party and be able to ask questions with them and hang out with them. It should be a really great event. The the thing at the premiere at the convention, of course, is going to be something that convention goers will go to. So not quite as private an affair.
Wow, that sounds like fun. I really hope that happens for, that we can get to those.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, so Gothic Phantom Zero is asking if what is your take on Fan Art 83?
What is that?
I'm not sure. Gothic, can you explain what you mean by Fan Art 83? I don't know what that means. Oh, okay, Rita's gonna make it to the BC one. Groovy. Hope I can.
Yeah.
Groovy, groovy. Okay, well, I think we're out of questions in the chat room. Oh, okay. Kat is saying I think the 83 is an emoticon fail. Okay, so fan art, is it just that you what is your take on fan art?
Oh, well, obviously,
Okay.
absolutely stunned by it. I mean, our very own Kat Melanson said, "Oh, I've done some drawings," and and I'm thinking, "Okay, show me your drawings." And she flipped open the book, and I went, "Holy smokes!" Because it was so incredible. So I started looking around, and there was the lady who did the needlepoint using metal thread, and and then there were people. There were a lot of musicians and singers and painters. I saw some incredible paintings, and lots of cool stuff, amazing stuff. I mean, the creativity in the fandom, as Rachel Miner says, goes beyond just a couple of little things too. It's a wide type, a lot of different types of art. And some people thought when I said art, I just meant drawings. And they said, well, I don't draw, but I never meant just drawing. As far as I'm concerned, acting is an art, writing is an art. Obviously, singing, music, all of those things are arts. Painting, sketching, sculpting, needlepoint, making the shoes that the lady made, those dolls. I mean, we tried to demonstrate not just how talented people were, but how broad the spectrum was with regard to the types of art. And Rachel Miner, talks about that in that episode 5, about that. It pulls you. I mean, didn't you think those dolls were amazing? The lady made the thing in the little teeny book, and it actually had the text in it. And a teeny cell phone that went in the guy's pocket. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
I have.
The detail that people have.
Yeah, I have on my desk a Lego version of Cliff. I don't have that with me right now, or I'd show it to you. But, oh, now I lost you again. Nope, are you there?
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I have a Lego version of Cliff and Jared and Jensen on my desk.
No way. You have to tweet a picture of that.
Yeah, I should have done that. I just forgot that I had them. They're sitting on my desk in my office. They're just so cool.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
Really cool creative folks here in the chat room. Kat, she's a fanfic writer. And Natalie is a musician as well as an artist. And then Brita, I think it was. Brita was mentioning that she takes supernatural quotes and burns them into wood.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah. Yeah. Some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of different things too. And you know, and Jared and Jensen have this stuff in their houses. You know, ends up in their houses. Stuff ends up in Cliff's houses. And sometimes he gives me the stuff, which is why I got the Lego thing. So, not so sure who gave it to me, but I got it.
Around the supernatural family. It goes to a good home. Cora. Hey, Cora is saying, "Hey, Mitch. Hey, Jodi." Cora is Cora Idol, who is coordinating. You know Cora?
I know Cora.
Okay. Yep. The Supernatural Ladies Convention. Yeah. So
I know Cora.
I'm sorry.
I was talking to Cora last night. I know her.
Oh, okay. So Cora, you bitched about the time for the live stream. I even moved the time of the live stream. You come at the end. I'm not talking to you. I love you, but I'm not talking to you.
I had a few drinks with Cora in the pub crawl that Betty Black put on, and Ellen Taylor. They put on a pub crawl at VanCon. It was a lot of fun, and Cora came to that and didn't embarrass herself too badly, I'm glad to say. I first met Cora at VanCon, I think it was 2013 or something like that. I got a lot of footage of Cora. If you know Cora at all, she's not afraid to talk. So.
No, she's not. And that's why we love her.
Yes, she's very nice. Yeah, and it's finally getting that convention together too with the ladies, so that's great. It's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to happen. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to happen. So, you know, and it's in Cora's very capable hands and her team's very capable hands. So, are there any last parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with us?
I have a lot of wisdom. I make some observations. That's about it. But I hope everybody likes the show. You know, we're making a series for the fans. Like I said, it's specifically for them. You know, if broadcast TV or the rest of the world don't want to watch it, I don't care, because there are enough fans out there that they will appreciate that. And then I hope they appreciate the film when we get it up there and understand that it's to try to give their perspective to the rest of the world, to get everyone else out there who doesn't understand to understand. Plan.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us and talking about the Supernatural Fan movie. We're so excited about everything that's coming up, the new episodes, the feature film, and you know, have a lot of fans that are looking forward to seeing you in Jacksonville too, including me. Very, very soon. So, yeah. So, have a very wonderful holiday for you and your family, and for all of you out there and your families too. And congratulations again to Brita for a very supernatural Christmas necklace going your way. And to all, a good night. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, Jodi.
Thank you, Mitch.